Keepers. Today we're on Planet Zoo, and I don't know why, but this is the first time I am making a giraffe enclosure. Giraffes being one of my favourite mammals, so I don't know why I haven't done this sooner. Like, I really do love giraffes, and this enclosure particularly is going to be slightly based on Blackpool Zoo's giraffe enclosure, only ever so slightly. It's not 100% like it, and as well, I could go for a savannah kind of vibe outside, but I really want to do a slight tropical forest kind of vibe where the giraffes can sort of dart in and out of and hide around. Obviously, I'm going to do like paths, cutouts, and then make these little tiny hills where the giraffes can sort of like chill around, and that's where the plant matter is going to be, with maybe a few rocks. We're going to have a raised viewing area as well as a raised viewing area inside the house, and also a ground viewing area inside the house, but keep the outside area just a raised one till maybe in the future when I do an enclosure near it, and maybe add some path around the outside as well. I ain't truly decided on yet, because this ain't really a proper zoo for me. This is just me experimenting, learning the different mechanics and having to go with a few different things. I don't actually have a proper zoo on the go. I did kind of slightly start one on the island, but it's kind of just turned into another one of those, like, I'm experimenting with enclosures, not really looking at the layout of the zoo or making it feel like a zoo. A lot of it is just like, how can I do this? How can I make that building look like this? And etc. etc. So as you see right now, I'm just sort of doing the inside. I was just like trying to make a staff area. Obviously, I'm not doing the path all the way around. If you go to the Blackpool Zoo one, when you go upstairs, you'll see a staff area at the top as well. This is where they put like the food and things in. Like, when I say food, it's like there's like some hay bits at the top where they can put haylage and things like this in for them to eat, and different bits of browse and other kinds of things. So I've sort of like introduced that into the build, as it were, rather than just having like a straight drop onto the bottom viewing area, and it just kind of squares it off a little bit. And usually I do a floor for the animals in the inside bit, but I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if there's a way of stopping it or not. I haven't figured it out yet. But every time I put hay on like the bedding on top of like the concrete, it drags the ground floor up, even when I've got the thing on for like, so it doesn't like level the ground or whatnot. So I'm not too sure what's going on there, but so I just decided that the install bit is just going to be normal terrain ground, which are now cover of dirt, and then put the bedding on. And it actually does look kind of nice when you do it that way rather than the concrete. It adds like an extra texture to it, adds a different bit of character and whatnot. But yeah, as you see right now, I'm doing the viewing area. This is where they can look down into the giraffe enclosure. This particular bit that I'm building right now is inside the enclosure. And as you can see, I'm using my very helpful archer there to figure out like what is the eye line sight of the guests. And I kind of make this like, so I do like the flat wood flooring and then the straw on top, so then it kind of looks like it's placed on something. Like, the straw does like hover over it. I don't have to do all the different types of looking supports, so it's kind of like evens it out a little bit. And making a bit of the fence bit there, and it's the right height. I did fiddle around with it. It's not never perfect with me. It's never perfect at all. Like, I always can never get like the same gap between two. I don't know if there's like a trick or tip on how to do that, but I haven't figured it out yet myself. But nevertheless, I am pretty happy with it. I did go for that paler wood because the other woods that sort of blend in with this colour are too long, and obviously you can't change the size of things. I don't have all the DLCs or anything like that as well. I only have the Barnyard DLC and the Aquatic DLC. I know some others have like smaller cuts of wood, which would probably make that look a lot better. But to be honest, I quite like it. It kind of goes with that sort of like tropical hut kind of vibe. It's fresh cut wood, and that sort of kind of look to it. And I really do actually like the enjoyment of looking at it when everything's put together. It does, in my opinion, look nice, which I quite enjoy. I use a very simple fence all the way around. I do like using this fence. It looks quite nice. Obviously, you don't have to repair this one. You can use fencing and that, but it does need repairing, whereas this one doesn't need repairing, and generally looks quite nice. For giraffes, you don't need too much in the sense of like fencing. It just needs to be tall enough that they can't step over it. And as you see right now, I've made the hilly bits. I've chosen where I'm going to have the plants, making the paths around it, adding different bits of enrichment to watch them mess around with it. I was watching them for ages, and they didn't really. The only enrichment they used in here is a scratching post. The zookeepers won't fill the food up, so they're not using those. I don't know why they won't fill them up because I've got everything around it. Like obviously I built the zookeeper hut and that a lot in there to hopefully help bring the food and things like this, but they don't seem too bothered in doing that for some reason. But the giraffes ain't starving; they're still full somehow. But yeah, as you see, I'm putting all the plants in, making it kind of bushy, kind of tropical. I'm mixing and matching a few different like trees, obviously savanna and jungle, and I'm just trying to like make my own sort of like vibe for it. Really, like I do enjoy like the tropical sort of look, especially when creatures get lost in. When you sat there in the barriers where the guests would be trying to look in, you can only see part of it. It's kind of cool. Kind of gives me reminiscence of going to Chester Zoo. Like Chester Zoo have some really amazing enclosures, and they've definitely made more in the like of hiding spaces and stuff like this for the animals, so they feel safer. So sometimes when you look into these enclosures, you'll only see a bit of the animal. It's not for all enclosures; it's for some of the enclosures, like especially the tiger one. The amount of like shrubbery around there, there's only certain points. I think it's the old tiger enclosure, not the new one, but even the new one still has a lot of shrubbery in, and it's like only certain areas you can see them. Sometimes you might just see a tail, top of an ear, and it just kind of makes it interesting, that kind of like vibe. Like when I'm stood here on the like viewing gallery in the dress at the back of the enclosure, you can just sort of see the heads popping through the trees and through like the many layers of bushes, and it just adds that kind of like interesting aspect to it that you can't always see them if you're from the guest area, and it just makes you look longer and keeps the guest longer at the enclosure. Where you have an enclosure where you can see the animal straight away, you don't always get the retention. Sometimes, obviously, people are true animal lovers will sit there and watch the animal for a while. Where some people are like, oh, I just want to see some animals. Well, look, that's the animal, and off they go. Whereas if they have to sort of look for the animal, they tend to stay. They have that longer retention period at the exhibit. They can look in and like, oh, where is it? Where is it? It's not behind there. It's not behind there. Sometimes some people do get bored, so not interested in like looking that long. But then you'll notice there is actually a longer retention on enclosures where you have to actually stand around and wait and look for the animal to ones where it's easily visible. Like a good example of a zoo in my area that has like a good ability of viewing the animal quite easily is Blackpool Zoo. Yes, there are some hiding spots, but it is like a lot of good viewing areas for like the guests, so you can see them from pretty much anywhere you stand in the enclosure, apart from the odd place where that is the hiding spot for them to sort of like relax and get away from like public view. But as you see right now, I'm building like just finishing off the building inside. I've made the ceiling. I didn't realize these glass panels were there. I don't know how I've not seen them before, but I really like the look of them, so I've added those. I'm adding a little bit of like iron girding in there, so it does look like the roof is supported and it's not just free floating, and sort of like making it fit in with the rest of the building. It just adds that little bit of extra character to it. Right now, I'm going to be doing the edge as well as making the door. So I'm going to just make a giant sliding wooden door at this point. I did try and like mess around, like thinking, can I make it with these wood beams so that'll look good? But I didn't like the look of it, and this way I was also running out of time as well. But this way with the actual wood wall can like give that kind of feel, and it fits in perfectly. It's quicker, and it still looks pretty decent. And I had the iron girding, so it looks like it's like a track for the door to run up and down on. I make some handles as well either side, so then obviously the zookeepers can grab that and pull the door a lot easier to open and close it. Now, my only thing is I did notice, which I probably will add, is the handles are on the outside, which means the keeper has to get in from the outside, but in the fence I've not made a door. Obviously the keepers aren't going to use that door, but it's just like a little thing that adds character to it, so somehow they're getting in that enclosure. Probably say they're climbing over the fence to get to the outside, so they open the door for the creatures. Say creatures, there's just giraffes in it. I don't know why I'm saying just creatures. But yeah, I'm just adding like bits of final touches, doors and things like this. Obviously the guests can just walk through these doors, so it doesn't matter too much, and I decided to add a giraffe on the inside. It's like a a little statue that you can stand next to and get a photo. And then if you look on the outside of the Blackpool Zoo Giraffe enclosure house, there is two giraffes either side of the door, so I've sort of incorporated that, so I do like the looks of that. Then I just put a massive, easy to read Giraffe house sign on the outside. I do like those. It's very simple. Like, I could make it look pretty and fancy, but I always find with like the name of enclosures, like the way I've just done it there, I find pretty, to me, it's aesthetically pleasing. And so obviously right now you can see I'm just sort of, again, adding more touches to the house, adding lighting, finish the other side of the walls, girders. I do sort of like bounce around a lot between what I'm doing. Like, I'll be halfway through something and then jump to something else, just to have do a break from that one aspect and just keep going and going, make it interesting for myself. Right now, like, I don't have much decorations because I don't have the conservation pack, I think it's called. So I don't have that much back sort of room kind of like equipment that I can add. I just decided to add like a fruit and veg table to the back. um, it's the only thing, and then mugs for the keepers as well, and some giraffe toys. Just when I do get that conversation pack, I will probably go around these enclosures and decorate in the back bit. I was also messing around the Habitat webcam. I don't know if you can link those to tellies or not, because that'd be kind of cool if you can. I don't know. I've not really looked that much into it. That's the first time I've ever placed one down. I was messing around. But overall, I'm really happy with the way that this enclosure looks. Like, I love just watching the giraffes move around it. And it's, like I said, with the fact that they're hidden slightly in the shrubbery, you can only see part of them from the, like, the standing gallery. And it's just very lush, tropical. And I feel like next time I do a giraffe enclosure, I probably will make a savannah style one. But for now, I'm really happy with this. It's just nice to like watch, really. Like, just look at it. Like, even now, just watching it back from when I'm doing this voiceover, I'm pretty like happy with the way it turned out. For me, anyways. I know some people like to go like full savannah when they're doing giraffe enclosures, or quite open plains. Technically, this is a pretty small enclosure for them, but it was just more that I was only having three of them. I want to see them use the enrichment, and it's just fun watching them quite close interact and things like this. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this and it's given you a little inspiration with your builds. Let me know in the comments if you've enjoyed this. This is the kind of thing that you would do for giraffes. As well, I'll be adding this to the workshop as I think I've just called it giraffe enclosure and house. But I'll put a link into it anyways. Until next time, I'll see you later.